Bills are hoping Von Miller will be one of the final pieces to a championship team. No player's ever played in a Super Bowl victory for 3 different teams. He could become the first after winning Super Bowls with the Broncos and the Rams. Miller led the NFL in pressures with 18 after joining the Rams in Week 10. Again, he was acquired from the Broncos and then went to L.A. and helped them win Super Bowl 56. Let's get instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports HQ NFL insider Josina Anderson. Josina, what more can you tell us about this deal that sends Von Miller to Buffalo?
So I've been talking to Von. Now we can talk about it freely, several times, through this process. And I want to just first and foremost, leave it to Von Miller, to make a splash and go to a whole new team. You mentioned that stat, that no player has played in the Super Bowl and obviously won, 3 times. And Von Miller certainly is aware of that. I was the one who made him aware of that. I texted him that. And, that's certainly something that he admitted that is, objective of his, obviously. Von Miller is about winning. He is very well aware of, the legacy players at his position. You want to, talk about Bruce Smith and some of the great pass rushers, before his time and all that, and all of the accomplishments that they have, achieved. And so this gives him an opportunity, puts him in position to do something that somebody has never done in the NFL. I was just talking to a source with the Bills who just said that hopefully Von Miller can do for us what he did, for the Rams. But, just to reflect on the conversations that I've had with Von, during this process, first and foremost, earlier today, one of the rival networks here had reported that he was likely headed to the Rams. And I talked to him while I think he was getting on a plane, at that time. And I was like, are you going to LA? What's going on? But he wouldn't say. But he just, said that a decision was not definitive. And so see right here, going to another team, as I just mentioned at CBS Sports HQ, once we passed over a half an hour outside of the new league year at that time. But one of the things that he just said is he had multiple considerations. On one hand, he really wanted to give the Rams an opportunity to present him an offer, think through that. As he said to me, they've been good to me, Joe. So make sure that that is clear. Obviously, we had that quote from him on Twitter a few days ago. The other consideration when it came to a team like Denver, that's where his son is. And obviously he's a father now, and he's got a lot of love for his son Valor and all those things. So those are, considerations too. And then obviously he's, very aware of the history and what he's trying to accomplish as a player, as a man, as a person in the NFL. And so being with this team, the Bills, who now under Sean McDermott, who we also interviewed at the Combine, just on the cusp of, potentially getting into the Super Bowl. We all saw that last play, against the Chiefs, where things just kind of fell apart. So Von getting the opportunity potentially to be a difference maker for that team, as it was so crushing for those coaches and still is, that they weren't able to go through as the representatives for the AFC and then see, the Bengals also not be able to cement it against the Rams. So big opportunity with all that collection of talent to potentially do it for another team. And we all saw him on G speaking to, of course, he was going to, announce it himself, although I tried to get it first. But I think that that's great. Bills Mafia has that whole fan base is just really energetic, really good, very appreciative of Josh Allen. So I'm very interested to see how the integration of Von Miller into that defense works out for them.
Yeah, because when you take a look at Buffalo, right, they led the league in fewest points per game allowed, 17 points per game, yards per game. But you take us back to that playoff game, yeah, they needed to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes. So what does this mean for the Bills?
Well, the other really important part about what happened defensively in that game that we were talking about, and just even for the Bills in general through the postseason, is that they were missing Tre'Davious White. So just in talking to sources, on that team, they feel like if they, had those pieces, and obviously sometimes things happen on a given play. It's not indicative of, the ability to coach and things like that, but you learn from those things. And that's a searing, moment for that, defensive staff and the defensive players, much as was the year before when, Stephon Diggs was standing at the corner of the end zone, making sure that he remembered, losing the year before, not being able to progress in the postseason. So I think Von Miller is going to be a huge difference, for that team, and maybe the biggest difference that gets you over the edge. And maybe it's just another thing too for Deshaun Watson to think about as you're thinking about not only the team that you're picking, but what conference you're picking to be in as far as your path, through the postseason. We saw like a player like LeBron James and how easy it sometimes is to get back to the finals when you're coming through the East. A lot harder in the West, though things are changing now. But those are considerations when you're trying to win a championship too.
All right, so Von Miller headed to Western New York. He's played in cold weather before. Won't be a problem playing there in Buffalo. Got to go break some tables as well with the Bills Mafia indeed. Josina Anderson with the very latest here on CBS Sports HQ. Thank you, Josina. All right, here's a look at the odds to win the AFC. Bills and Chiefs, the favorites at plus 425. Bills are also the favorites to win the Super Bowl, plus 750, and they add Von Miller, and that defense just gets even more loaded. Of course, they got Josh Allen leading the way, and perhaps we'll see another rematch between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and maybe Von Miller will be leading their charge to the AFC title game. We're about to find out, but in the meantime, Von Miller going to wear number 40 for the Buffalo Bills, and his bank account's going to get a whole lot bigger. 6 years, $120 million.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.